We all love summer fragrances, but we don't always love how they perform. These are my top 11 fresh fragrances that actually last long. I'm here in beautiful Scotland at the Stirling Castle. And although it's technically summer here, it's not exactly the warmest day, but I wanted to talk about 11 awesome performing summer fragrances that will work in weather like this, but also more importantly, when it gets really hot outside. These are 11 fragrances that I actually didn't talk about in my previous summer lists. And if you haven't seen those lists, I'll have them in the cards up top and in the description down below. But let's get into these 11 fragrances, both niche and designer, that all perform really well for fresh fragrances. At number 11 is Lodi pour Homme by Issey Miyake. This is a classic fragrance. I talk about it quite often. The original is the one that started it all. It was one of my first designer fragrances ever. And what's amazing about it is it's a woody citrus fragrance that showcases yuzu, which is a very, very sharp, tart, bitter, sour note, and it works really well in the heat. Lodi pour Homme was infamous for its incredible performance. And unfortunately, like a lot of old school fragrances, it has changed over the years. It has been quote unquote reformulated, but I'm happy to say I have a modern formulation and it performs really well, a lot better than most designer fragrances that are meant for the heat. So it's well worth checking out if you haven't already. There's also a slew of flankers out there that's a little more updated and modern and fruity, but the original is a banger, so give it a shot. At number 10, we have Light Blue pour Homme Eau Intense. This is the bottle with the blue liquid in it. It is a flanker of the original Light Blue pour Homme, which I guess is the masculine flanker of the original light blue for women. Now, while a lot of intense flankers are just the same fragrance but amped up, perhaps they're a higher concentration, Eau Intense gets the intensity in the form of seawater. It has an intense saltwater feel to it, very aquatic. But it's not just blue, it's not just a blue fragrance, it also has lovely citrus notes, bright grapefruit, and as it dries down, it does tend to develop. Juniper is in the middle, musk is at the end. It's a very phenomenal fragrance, and it's one that is easy to apply. You don't have to worry about over-application, extremely, extremely dumb reach, like really dumb. And like everything else on this list, it performs. It lasts the whole day, 8 hours, no problem, and the projection isn't obnoxious, so awesome stuff. An honorable mention to the other flankers like Italian Zest. There's a couple new ones as well, and the original Light Blue pour Homme. All great flankers, but Eau Intense gets the best performance with me on my skin. Try them all out if you can, if you are so blessed to do so, but if you had to pick one, go with the blue. Next is Fierce by Abercrombie & Fitch. Another one of my favorites, even though it's a very basic teenage boy fragrance and it smells like shopping malls, especially in North America. But I love wearing it. It performs amazing, and even though it's not catered to the fresh summer weather, it works. It's a green, fresh fragrance with some muskiness, but it's amazing in the heat, and the heat really helps with projection. It's just so likable that even though it is very strong, people aren't gonna complain because you'll smell good, even though you might smell very basic. But I love it. I wear it as a grown man, and don't judge it just based on its weird bottle with the abs and all that. Next on the list we have Bulgari Aqua Amara. Aqua Amara gets a lot of talk in the community because of its performance, and it is kind of unique with its sort of manly, dirty, salty orange. And Jeremy Fragrance likes it too, which helps. But it does perform very well. An all-day fragrance, 10 hours. It'll creep into the evening as well. Like a lot of the Bulgari Aqua flankers, they seem to perform. Atlantique is my personal favorite. Marine is also phenomenal. They were both on my other summer lists. But Amara is kind of notable for its incredible performance. And if you haven't tried it yet, I really encourage you to do so. Not necessarily blind buy worthy because it is kind of weird. At 7, we have Colonia Ascenza by Acqua di Parma. A fragrance that I seem to talk about more and more these days, even though it's not necessarily one of my favorite fragrances. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it just seems to be a little bit too sophisticated and mature for me because I'm a goofball idiot. And Colonia Ascenza is for a classy, sophisticated man. But it really is universal enough that you can wear it as a signature scent. Ascenza seems to be one of those cases where, even though it's a manly fragrance, I say it's kind of blind buy worthy because it's something that you can put on as a young juvenile guy and you'll just elevate yourself. It'll make you into a man, is what I'm trying to say. Performance is phenomenal, especially when compared to other Acqua di Parma fragrances. The original Colonia is a lovable fragrance. I really do enjoy it. It kind of fades away at lunch, but Essenza just keeps going. It has that barbershop quality and the bottle looks cool. I just wish they had more black bottle Acqua di Parma fragrances. I find them so cool. The look is so nice with the opaqueness and all that. Just missing the top 5 spot is Beach Hut Man at number 6 by Amouage. Beach Hut Man is one of the newer Amouage releases, especially on the fresh side of things. Excellent, excellent performance like most Amouage fragrances. The notes are potent enough that they'll cut through the cold weather, but they flourish in the warmth. Very bright, green, woody fragrance. The way that I always describe it is it's not a beach fragrance, it's a beach hut fragrance. It smells like an actual hut. The woodiness, but there's nothing overly heavy about it. Even though I wouldn't wear it in the desert, it works great in the heat and it'll last you all day. It's not necessarily in the top 5 because it's not a super duper summer fragrance. I find it flourishes in late spring, early fall. If you're blind buying it, don't expect citrus and aquatics and ambroxan. It's none of that. It's not blind buy worthy, but it's very good. So that's why I put it on here. Number 5, we have Mancera Oud Blue Notes. I feel like Oud Blue Notes is the ugly stepsister of Oud Lemon Mint. Oud Lemon Mint sounds like a fantastic fragrance because of the fact that lemon, mint, and it performs really well. And it is a very good fragrance, but I do find it is a little bit heavy for the warmth. Blue Notes is just fruity, blue, soothing goodness. And yes, it is a little bit woody, but I love it in the summer. I find it such a spa-like fragrance, and it just works so well on me. Performance is phenomenal. 8 hours solid, and even though it's Mancera, I don't feel obnoxious wearing it, because a lot of them are nuclear. And in the summer, this is the one that really pulls me in. It's just so unique. It's so cool. Blue, but not your typical blue fragrance. It has its own character to it. And personally, I prefer it a little bit more than Acqua di Parma's leather when it comes to the heat. In the heat, Blue Notes is my go-to leather fragrance. At number 4, we have one of my favorites, Platinum Egoist by Chanel. Sort of similar in vibe to Beach Hut Man. It's extremely contemporary, but also a bit timeless. Absolute signature scent worthy, but the best feature of Platinum Egoist is its performance. Even though it's really light, it just lasts the entire day. It has really strong projection and sillage is incredible. I know because my dad wears this every day now, and every time I'm in the house around him, I'm just like, oh, there's my boy Plati, just doing its thing. Similar to Essenza, Platinum Egoist is one that I tend to suggest to more mature dudes, but that's not because a younger dude can't wear it. I just find that younger people tend to favor sweeter, more fun fragrances. But if you're into a more sophisticated vibe, then Platinum Egoist is incredible. You can find it nearly anywhere that sells Chanel fragrances, so give it a try, especially if you need something that performs all day and is fresh. At number 3, we have a lesser known fragrance. It's called Aventus by Creed, often called the king of men's fragrances. It's a smoky, woody, musky, pineapple, fruity fragrance that really does perform really well on me. Aventus is a fragrance that will last all day, 10 hours. If I apply it before the gym, I mean, that's stupid, but sometimes I do. And then I go to the gym, come home, shower, get out of the shower, I still smell it on me. There's not much else to be said about it. It's amazing. It's been cloned many times over, but the original still does its own thing. The only reason it's number 3 is because there's just so many formulations now. And I have 15X21, but 19P triangle 22 probably sucks. So I couldn't give it the top spot because there's so much inconsistency when it comes to that fragrance. And you already know that, guys. You already know, come on. My number 2 awesome performing fragrance for the summer, Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum. The new-ish EDP formulation is a monster performer. It performs way better than the original EDT, which already performed like a nuclear bomb of delicious peppery goodness. The original Sauvage got a bad rap because, I mean, it was kind of a basic bro fragrance. Everyone seemed to have it, but it was also criticized for the fact that it was a bit sharp. It was a bit too heavy, especially in the beginning, It was really spicy and peppery and in your nostrils, just doing chaos. However, the EDP somehow strengthened the concentration, but also smoothed the fragrance out. It becomes more wearable even though it's way stronger. And the reasoning for that is the projection isn't quite as heavy. It is a little bit closer to the skin, but don't even think about applying this right before work. You need to give this a few hours to settle down. And then once it's there, you just have this amazing scent cloud that sticks with you for 8 hours and then begins to come closer to you at the 10, 11, 12-hour mark. It just misses the #1 spot because, I mean, it is Dior Sauvage, so uniqueness isn't necessarily the best, but when it comes to performance, this is #2. Before I get to #1, guys, if you're enjoying this content and you want to see more fragrance videos, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I put out videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and if you like Scotland, if you like this amazing scenery, then like the video. That also helps me too.
No! No!
My #1 best performing fragrance just is a monster on me. Not only does it last well over 12 hours on my skin, it smells amazing. And it's catered for the warm weather. Unlike some of these other fragrances that I mentioned where you might be a little weary about putting it on when it's extremely hot outside, this one, no worries at all. It's a sexy, compliment-getting monster of a fragrance. It's fruity, a bit musky, and masculine. A wonderful combination of likable but still a bit domineering, and it just lasts and lasts and lasts on my skin. While some people will compare it to the king of fragrances, Aventus, as mentioned before, I feel it does its own thing. It's not necessarily pineapple heavy, but it still has a very similar effect. It smells pretty close to its brother, bondnumber9.com. My #1 best performing fresh fragrance is Scent of Peace for Him by Bond Number 9. The blue bottle with the cute black bow, which I lost a while ago. For fresh fragrances, this is my #1. This is one that I'll shower at the end of the day and then still smell it in the shower like 14 hours after applying. I get compliments 6 hours after putting it on. It's phenomenal. If you haven't checked it out, if you've wrote it off as another Aventus wannabe, do yourself a favor and try it out. If you want to check out some summer fragrances that are on the affordable side of things, I made a top 10 list right here of summer colognes that are under $50. And you know what? This is just my opinion though, guys, so don't forget to get your own.